So what advice would you give someone who wants comedy as a career?
Have a backup plan first. Don't just come in here thinking that I could get on stage and this is it for me. Nah, there's levels to it. And then on top of it, you get certain people that, do you want to be a comedian or do you want to be an entertainer? Because there's different things to it.
Right.
Like, I could do all. I'm a comedian, I'm a host, I'm an actor, I can write, I can produce. You know what I mean? So that's a well-rounded entertainer. But you get certain people that are like, I just want to do the comedy side. Or you get certain people that just be like, you know what? I want to pitch a TV show. Or certain people just want to be a writer. They don't want the glory.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nothing Fancy. My name is Kevin Salinas. I am here with Marcus Banks. He's a New York-based comedian, and he's known for his storytelling and insightful humor. He's worked with amazing comedians like Mike Epps, Michael Blackson, and DC Young Fly, and of course, how I met him with Haha Davis. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. Wanted to first of all thank you for coming out.
Absolutely.
Sitting down with me and getting to share your story.
Absolutely. Well, the story has to be heard some way, somehow.
I was watching some old videos of yours, and it looks like you've been in the game for a while now.
13 years now.
13 years? I was gonna say around 15.
Nah, 13. Don't put too much. Don't rush the process.
So what got you into comedy?
Oh, well, I was DJing first. Like,
Okay.
I was when I was in college, I was actually a DJ. So it was just one day, like, they needed a host for a fashion show. And I got up there, my homeboy was like, yo, you could do comedy. I'm like, nah, that ain't my thing. And then I seen Mike Epps with his special, Never Faded and Underrated. And then from there, it kind of like grasped my mind, like, maybe I could do this, you know what I'm saying? So I pondered on it, and then like later down the line, I, start going to little open mics, just, playing double dutch with it, and later became Marcus Banks Comedy, you know what I'm saying? So.
Before you started comedy, you just mentioned that you were a DJ in New York, right?
Yeah.
This is New York?
Yeah. My name was DJ Newro. I named it after my hometown. So I was doing like a bunch of colleges, homecomings. I wasn't really on the club scene. I was doing like colleges and stuff like that. So I just ran around with an Acer laptop and a hard drive, and wherever they had turntables, I just hooked up and turned up the party.
That's crazy. Yeah. What year was this?
I did this from 2009 to about 2012.
And before that, so tell me just a little bit about your when you were growing up.
Oh yeah, growing up, I came more so from a single parent home. My mom, you know what I mean? Like, me and my dad, we kind of like resurfaced our relationship in my later days now. But my mom, she had, the whole community behind her to raise me, my brother, and my sister. And then my mom adopted another young child as we was growing up. So she took care of 4 kids, and they say it take a village to raise a child. So my mom definitely had a village behind her, and we had a fairly good childhood. Like, me and my brother is cool, me and my sister is tight. Me and my little sister, from time to time we butt heads. She just thinks she knows everything. But for the most part, came from a good family, and my mom just taught me how to be a hustler and just stand on principles and morals. So.
And growing up, you mentioned that your father really wasn't around.
Nah, he wasn't really. I'm saying I see my dad like every summer, but he wasn't like a hands-on to where it's like he taught me how to go shoot hoops or let's go play baseball. Like, my dad was one of those, like, I work, all right, let me send you a couple dollars back to your mom, and nice seeing you. See you next summer. You know what I'm saying?
So you didn't really have a good like a relationship with him?
Not
like
the greatest relationship, but in the later days now, like, we talk at least twice a week and just pick each other's brain, and he trying to like instill like things of like buying like homes and financial gain. So it's better now, but at the same time, we always want those childhood memories to be something significant. But I could thank my step pops, rest in peace to him, that he kind of like filled that void. Yeah.
Do you feel like because the relationship you had with your father, like, do you still use that in comedy these days? Like,
I talk about him all the time.
Yeah.
I talk about him all the time. We got the same name, so like I talk about him all the time. So it don't really.
So you're a junior.
Yeah. So I don't, but I just I just stay away from his stuff and he stay away from mine. You know, what I mean? I'm gonna see him this weekend. He actually coming to a show, so it's gonna be his second time seeing me. But he know he get talked about.
How'd you guys like rekindle that like relationship a little bit? Like you mentioned, you were kind of talking to him, kind of not, but like how, like at what point did you guys like actually start like, I guess like linking up more?
My homeboy just was like, yo, sooner or later, it's just like, I ain't telling you gotta like forget it, but at some time you gotta find it in your heart to forgive him. So I was like, you know what, you're right. So I reached out to him and he sent me his address. I always knew where he lived, but he sent me the address. Went over there, kicked it with him around Christmas and drank a beer with the guy and had a lovely conversation with him. And from there, it's like he just think like I'm like 4 years old or something. Like every day he want to call and check up on me. You know, from time to time I call you back, but the relationship is building.
Are you a father now?
No, not that I know of. I had the same number since 2003, so anybody looking for me, I ain't hard to find. And it's tax season too. It'd be perfect right now.
And when you were how'd you get into DJing? First of all?
DJ. Oh, I just bought a laptop and downloaded Virtual DJ 8. And then from there, I had this hard drive forever. I had all this music on this hard drive that I was just downloading from like LimeWire.
LimeWire,
So I had all the music, and I knew how to like hack the college system. Like, you know, when you go to college, they block it. I knew how to override that and all that. So I was just downloading music and just going like, it used to be places like, a lot of places didn't have like clubs. So like, I mean, like we didn't have a lot of clubs where we could go to. So we used to just have, we used to have like dorm parties. So everybody, you know, I was like, oh, let me get on the aux. You know, at this time we had iPods and things like that. Man, I used to just plug up my laptop, man, and just go crazy.
Kids these days don't know about LimeWire.
Oh, nah.
You know, I used to actually sell CDs. I'd go to my friends. He had a computer.
How many
full of
seed burners you was running?
I mean, I would just do one at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just do.
I knew people that was running like 6 at a time. Like, yeah, they was going crazy.
No, I would sit there for hours, like 6-7 hours, and just burn 2-3 CDs.
People don't even remember the Nextels when you used to get the ringtones on it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The sidekick, your away message. They don't remember the good old days, man.
Did you download all your music from LimeWire?
Everything came from LimeWire. Every single thing came from LimeWire. You couldn't tell me nothing about LimeWire.
There ain't nothing out like that anymore.
Nah, see, my era, you had the mixtapes, and then once like Soulja Boy came out, it was straight like LimeWire and everything. You know what I mean? So, but I had everything. You couldn't tell me nothing like Gucci Mane, Jeezy, Waka Flocka came out. Oh, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was LimeWire God. So, any of y'all looking at this, I'm sorry I took away from y'all album sales. I was downloading. I'm sorry.
What were like the artists? Growing up in New York, what artist was popping those days?
Well, when I got a little older, I found out like a little bit of history of like Brand Nubian was like one of the like top groups out. Then you had like Sporty Thieves, of course the Lox, Mary J. Blige, of course DMX. You know, you had things that it was so much talent, and then on top of it, like New Rochelle is more of a football town. To where Mount Vernon is our rival, where they're the basketball town, where you got like Ben Gordon and the Michael Colburns, and then you go to New Rochelle, you got the Ray Rice, you got the Jeff McDermott's. It's just so much talent in the whole Westchester, even in like Yonkers, White Plains. Even Donovan Mitchell is from like Westchester County, so a lot of people don't know that. You know what I mean? So
really,
it's just so much talent. Even Denzel Washington, he's from Mount Vernon. Richard Roundtree, he's from New Rochelle. Felicia Rashad, she actually owns a home in Westchester. So it's so much talent in all of like Westchester County that we kind of go under the map because we not the 5 boroughs, we a county. So everybody's like, oh, that's upstate. Literally, we could get to the city in 10 to 20 minutes. You know, the Bronx is 10 minutes away from my house. You know what I mean? I could get to Yankee Stadium in 20 minutes. I could get to Harlem 125th in 30 minutes. So really not upstate. You know what I mean? Upstate to me starts like Newburgh and then going in like Poughkeepsie and Syracuse and all that. That's upstate to me. Buffalo, that's upstate.
Yeah. And what about comedians? Like what comedians did you grow up listening to or watching?
Watching, to be honest, like always watched like Def Comedy Jam, you know, when you was over your aunt's house or, you know, your cousin's house that weekend and you sneaking to watch something. So coming up watching, I really was like a big Bernie Mac fan, like the biggest
Yeah.
Bernie Mac, because he was so unapologetic, and it
Yep.
was one of those like, oh, he just didn't care. So Bernie was one of those guys. Of course, like I used to steal like my uncle's cassettes. So like Raw, of course, I was Robin Harris fan. I was a big fan of him as well because he was another person that really just never took his foot off that pedal. Of course, you got the Richard Pryors and things of that nature, but Bruce was one of my favorites as well too.
Who do you think influenced like your style?
My
the
style,
most?
I would more so say, is more so of like it's. I can't compare it to nobody, but I'll say it's close to Bernie because I just
Yeah.
have no filter, which is to a point. And then like my storytelling is sometimes it could be unmatched, but sometimes it could be like, the hell did this dude just say? You know what I mean? Like, did
Right.
you just say that? But in this new day and age, you have to watch what you say. But I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn.
I feel like if you're gonna be in comedy, you can't give a shit.
Yeah, I'm saying there's certain things that it's like you could make someone feel a little bit, like, you should have never said that. Even like
Yeah.
certain lyrics, but I'm not gonna go too far because it's like at the same time I do have a little conscience, But at the same
Yeah.
time I'm not gonna be apologetic like, oh, I just told you that, put the burger down because you 390 pounds. Nah, put the burger down, go get a salad.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
I feel like comedy back in the day was definitely more like
Oh yeah, half of them be canceled now for everything they was doing. Absolutely. They'll be canceled.
Are you afraid of getting canceled?
No, that's why I don't take the bait. If you're gonna sponsor me, I'll tell you what comes with it. Like, listen,
Right.
I'm aware, but sometimes I can't be aware. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
So you were DJing, and were you pretty popular in college DJing?
Oh yeah, I was pretty popular. Yeah, I was pretty popular because it's called the SUNY colleges. So like SUNY is like it's about I want to say about 40 colleges. So I was pretty popular. I did universities, I did community colleges. I was pretty popular. Even when I came back home, like when I quote unquote, I could say I ain't drop out, I got kicked out. But when I came back home, I still was even DJing like the local colleges. So
Yeah.
I definitely had a nice little run with DJing. But
And how come like you didn't pursue that? How come you didn't continue that?
I think at that time I was a good DJ for that moment, for that little era of like I
Yeah.
knew all that music. But once it started changing and people started running around with like, because at this time it was like this is the cusp of like I just got kicked out of college. My mom didn't know, so I kind of was like winging it, like sleeping on people's couches or sleeping on public transportation because my mom ain't know I was kicked out of school until my uncle told her. So when my uncle seen me, he was like, "Wait, ain't no spring break, ain't no what the hell you doing here?"
Yeah.
And then he see me with a suitcase. But at that time, I started seeing like DJs having loading like crates, then loading like speakers. I didn't have time for all of that. And on top, I didn't have no car. I was just laptop. Got my hard drive and I'm good to go. I could go to if you got the
Yeah.
you got the turntables here, cool.
It was like becoming
Yeah,
like too
you
much
want me
of
to do a
profession
baby
type.
shower? It's like I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go to Best Buy and probably go, buy a big speaker or something. Like, but I didn't have time to go get subwoofers and this and put. I didn't have
Why didn't you you mentioned that you didn't tell your mom you had been kicked out of college. It was gonna disappoint her.
At that moment, I was kind of, I'd say, embarrassed more so because my mom had high hopes for that situation because she drove me 4 hours away. My mom don't drive, so for her to make it happen for me to be in a U-Haul and drive to college and set up a dorm room,
Right.
even though it was a community college, it was something that like you might have thought I was going to like Yale or Harvard. Like she
Right.
was just so happy, like, all right, my middle kid is going away and he's going to drift off and he's going to come back and do good things. But later in life, it came full circle. But at that time, I think my mom was just so more of like what I've overcame and the things that was said about me because I went to alternative school. So all my friends, like they moms never wanted me around. He was like, oh, he's the trouble kid, he's the trouble kid.
Yeah.
Like, I might have been bad in school, but I still got the work done, you know what I mean? Yeah, I was
Right.
a troublemaker from time to time, but I was no bully, you know what I'm saying? So I just always knew, like, you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. And there was
Right.
no me going home telling my mom, oh, I got a black eye, and I wasn't going back outside. Honestly, my mom sent me or my brother outside off like fighting. Like, You ain't coming back in this house until I feel you won that fight. Looking out the window. Go again. What you mean go again? You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
so
The and the moment you so you know you get kicked out of college, what'd you and at this point you're DJing, right?
yeah.
Would you I guess in your mind, what were you like looking to like really do with your like yourself? Like were you like, okay, this is what I'm gonna shoot for? Did
Yeah.
you know comedy was the thing?
No,
You were
I
going
was
for?
actually doing vlogs. So I was going to my cousin's house. I was going to my cousin's house and I was doing vlogs. So I was just going on Facebook and just ranting. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I was DJing on
Like video-
yeah,
like video
literally
rants?
like video rants.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
DJing, like you know what I'm saying. Before it was going live, I would just press the record button and just throw out the video. It was grainy, but at the same time, it was like I felt like I was doing something. So it was getting a little bit of traction. And then one day, my uncle just took me to a comedy show. He's like, "Yo, come with me to this comedy show." So it was a talented comedian, Benji Brown, Rob Stapleton, a couple other comedians. I don't want to put other people on the show that I don't remember. But I remember going to this, and I was like, oh, I think I could do that. And my uncle was like, all right, I'll bring you next week. Went next week, terrible. I'm talking about so terrible, it was this lady on the oxygen tank. She said, if I die tomorrow, I'll never remember you. And I was like, bitch, you won't remember. You're going to be dead. But it just, from there, I was like, dang, like, how do you do it? And then when I called my mom, because at this time I was living with my uncle because, you know, I was kicked out of school. And my mom was like, yo, what you going to do, cry over it? So I'm like, what you mean? She was like, man, what don't break you, going to make you. So get back to the drawing board and see what you want to do. And then I just kept getting my chops up, going to open mics, going downtown, you know, even paying $10 just to be part of open mics. And then I got into like that showcase field to where like I started hosting showcases where like rappers, poets, you know, and then from there, that's how I started getting my chops up because I just work out my jokes in between acts and things like that. Then I'll go to the comedy clubs.
That first show you ever did where you said you bombed it, like just no one was just laughing.
Nah,
like
not a
the joke.
soul. It was HBX Studios. It's still there, 163rd and 3rd Avenue, not too far from where Fat Joe is from.
How long were you up there for?
I was up there. That was the longest 3 minutes of my life. And I'm talking about to the point the most silent ride home. Like I'm talking about my uncle over here. I know in his head he's like, man, you made me drive your ass over. And he had a date that night. He canceled it. He's like, nah, I gotta take my nephew, man. He wanna go try comedy.
Yeah.
I know you over there like, and I took you over here for this sorry excuse of this bull crap.
What did it make you realize about comedy? Because you said when you went there just to watch other people, you were like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Bring me next week. And then you were up there, you were like, oh shit. Like,
Oh, no. See, in the way I came up in comedy, it was like you had to show and prove. You know, you had the internet, but it wasn't too much. You had more of like, it was the Twitter effect. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Instagram at that time was like post your picture and get on about your day. Then when Vine came, it was like a whole nother chapter where, all right, 15 seconds could really make you famous. You know what I mean? Then next, you know, Instagram upgraded its lifestyle.
were you on Vine too?
Nah, that's one thing I could say I regretted because at that time I was more so, I was on the New York scene, so it was kind of overcrowded. So at that time it was like you could go to a show, but the vets wasn't letting the young comics on. So me being who I am, I'm like trying to get in where I fit in, and I finally start getting around some vets and some OGs, and you know I never told people who I know. I just wanted it on my own. You know, I never said like who my uncle was or who I knew or people I came up with. I was like, nah, I want this on my own. I never wanted it to feel like it was a handout or you just opening the door because you know who I am. Nah, when it's time to open that door, open it. You know, don't rush my success.
Do you feel like that still happens today? Like where vets really aren't trying to like put on like,
Well, not a lot of people want to share their shine. I don't care who you are. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like if you go on a trip right now with your boys, like, yeah, y'all want to split the bill, but if one chick come up to you and be like, yo, I really like you, you ain't gonna be like, well, we can share her. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, it's me. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it really goes. Like everyone has their own path. But one thing I can say is I can say I've paid it forward more than I ever like try to block someone's blessing in this game. And if anybody tell you any different, they just lying. Or we just never cross paths. But I got a heart pure, full of gold. So, and that's probably sometimes where I could be blocking my blessings. Sometimes I could keep certain things to myself, but sometimes I give somebody the game, like, nah, you should go do this. And then I'll be looking like, damn, bro, why you ain't never pay it forward, you know?
right?
So.
What does that like hustle like look like a comedian trying to make it, like trying to get into gigs? Like what does that hustle look like?
It's all about like how you market yourself,
Mm-hmm.
what you gonna put out there, how you gonna put it out there, what your brand could fit. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that's what it really comes down to. Like when these promoters is scouting talent, it's like, all right, you could be the funniest person, but it's like, all right, who gonna sell the tickets? Who's gonna really, anchor the show? Who's really gonna be invested in the show? So that's what they really look for. Like with me, I'm a really easygoing guy. I don't ask for too much. I don't need too much. But at the same time, don't play with my kindness and take it for a weakness. You know what I mean? So that's how I take it.
But you were basically going to different comedy shows and like just watching other people, learning from other up and
Yeah.
comers.
I was going outside, and at this time I was working at UPS. I just started working at UPS. This is around Christmas time when they need the helpers. So I was
Yeah.
working at UPS. So I ended up working at UPS, and I left UPS and started working for a lady shoe store called 9 West. It's closed now. But I was going every night. Like I get over, I'll just take the train to the city and just go on the scene, just watch different comedy, like the white scene, the black scene, whichever scene it was, just to start getting familiar of like how to work rooms and like crowd work and understanding. And then sooner or later, I met up with this dude named Omar Thompson, Omar the comedian. And he just took me under his wing, and I promise you, I was outside Sunday to Sunday. It was to a point, I had a nice girlfriend at that time. We might have broke up like 3 weeks later. I wasn't coming home at all. Like I was just so focused in that pocket.
So you quit working at UPS and just went full force with comedy.
No, I went to the shoe store because
Yeah.
in the beginning, at this time, I want to say they was paying minimum wage, so I forgot how much it was. But when I got my check, I looked, I'm like, yo, I just did like 60 hours. This don't add up to what I really did, because this is Christmas time.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, this really don't add up to what I just did. And on top of it, I ain't have no car, so I'm kind of like taking the bus back and forth from work. I'm like, yo, this don't add up. So I ended up bumping into this lady. Me and her son went to school together. And she was like, hey, I'm the manager at this shoe store. She was like, apply, I'll probably get you a job. I applied. She was like, yo, you only gonna work Tuesday through Friday. I'm like, that's perfect. Gave me the hours and I took advantage of it. You know what I mean? So it was kind of perfect for me to get into my career and at the same time have some money in my pocket.
One thing I've noticed watching your videos is like you're really good with crowd engagement.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really, obviously, especially in comedy, like matters a shit ton.
Yeah.
Is that one of the first things like that you started like really diving into as far as like comedy? Like, and I guess I'm gonna follow that up with like, what were like the top things that you were like, okay, I got to get better at this, and this.
Well, it was in the beginning, to answer your first question, when I go out on the stage, the reason why I pick at the crowd, because I want to see how far I could take it or see which way I could go. Like, all right, do I bounce this out of my set, or is this joke gonna work here? You know what I mean? That's how I kind of figure it out. It's like a puzzle to me. You know
Like
what I mean?
what they're gonna laugh at.
Yeah,
And
it's
what they're
like
not gonna
tunnel
laugh
vision.
at.
Like I kind of see, like, all right, this is what's gonna work. Or
Yeah.
you scan the crowd, like, all right, this is the older crowd. Because a lot of comedians might not say this, but you could go to a show and you can say you got 5 shows. You get that first show, it's like, say it's on a Friday. That's like the working class. They just got off work. They're like, all right, let me get this. And then I could go home and I could wind down. But you get that second show probably around 9 o'clock. That's the ones that went to go pregame.
Right.
The ghetto is here. The hood is
Yeah.
here. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
now you really got to work. You know what I'm saying? So, and then just to learn, it's more so of like being around comedians that hold you accountable. And I think a lot of comedians that, are now getting their flowers, and you need someone that's going to hold you accountable, someone that's going to pull you to the side, someone that's going to push you or tell you like, hey man, you might want to critique this joke like this. A lot of comedians, it's not like someone's writing your jokes, but sometimes a extra pair of hands could help a joke. You know what I'm saying? Or an extra pair of eyes or ears. It's always work to be done when you on that stage. You know what I mean? And I know I'm one of my biggest critics, and I'm still working on things. You know what I mean? I still want to be able to do a flat out hour without any gaps or anything. So this is the year where it's like I'm figuring out everything and combining everything together, like from years, even if it's old stuff. Just like, all right, I could tweak this joke and make it, because things is full circle. Life is full circle.
Yeah. And what other like things besides like crowd engagement did you like really dive into?
It was more so storytelling, and I
Yeah.
kind of learned that from my grandfather. He's
Yeah.
always, I come from a Jamaican background, so my grandfather, he always had a story. And when he used to tell stories, like, you'd think he'd be telling it from when he was born to about like 1980. Like, damn, that was a good ass story. But
Yeah.
it was just the one day of the story. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was like, I got to take a little page out of his book, So.
I think those two things, like you just mentioned storytelling, like people really relate to storytelling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just because it's usually based off of something that actually happened. And even if it's a fake story, it just, you relate to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you put your own perspective into like, oh, okay, like, this happened to this person. And then you just relate to it with whatever happened to you.
Yeah.
In the crowd engagement, like those are two of the things that I like about comedians is a good storyteller and a good crowd engagement, because like when you go up there and out of nowhere you start picking on the crowd, it's kind of like you're freestyling.
Yeah.
It is like
Yeah,
you're
it's
freestyling,
improv.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's not like, oh, okay, he's just coming and starting with his like, out of the shit that he's gonna just fucking say.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it really catches people by surprise.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's what people like really like about, comedians who have both of those. The when was the first time, like the first gig that you had where you opened up for like a bigger comedian?
The first one, I say. Well, the first one that ever put me in an arena, I say, is Mike Epps. But the first one that took me on, first one that really took me on tour was Smokey Suarez. Smokey Suarez was, at this time, he was on a Mike Epps tour. And he was just taking me around. And, I say taking me around, but at that time I felt like he was using me to drive. I had a nice 1996 Volkswagen, white tinted windows. I had a nice little 12-inch subwoofer in the trunk. I had a nice system in there, and he took me to Virginia, Boston, Baltimore, D.C. We went all up and down the East Coast. Like I think like Charlotte was like where I drew the line. Like I ain't driving no further than this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but he was the first one to like give me that experience of like theaters. Like it was a plethora. The Michael Blackson was on the show. I believe Mike Epps, him. It was a ton of comedians on there.
And how'd you get connected with like Mike Epps and them?
Oh, well, Mike Epps, I got connected through Jadakiss. So Jadakiss, I met his aunt on a cruise, and his aunt kind of like ranted and raved like, "Hey, there's this comedian coming out of our area named Marcus Banks. You might want to take a look at him. Like he's high energy, like he's getting some traction." And I seen him on the same cruise. And
Jadakiss was on the
same cruise. He was actually performing. He was on the artist part. I was on the comedy part. And he was like, "Hey, man, what day you performing?" I was like, "Oh, the last day. I'm doing Sunday." He was like, "All right, we gonna come?" And I'm like, "All right, who?" Like, and him and his boys came to the show, and they liked what they saw. And he linked me with his old manager, and had a meeting with her. He offered me an olive branch to be part of his So Raspy Entertainment label. And then from there, he was like, "Hey, man, you ever thought about doing like shows?" I'm like, "What you mean?" He was like, "Bigger shows." He was like, I'm gonna take you to CIAA weekend. And then I went to Bojangles Coliseum and opened up for Mike Epps, some more, Earthquake, Gary Owens, and Tony Rock.
Was that first time you opened up in an arena?
In Bojangles.
How many people was it?
Bojangles, I say about 10,000 people was in that one. Yeah, about 10,000. Well, when I was on stage, probably about 4,200 was there. I'm saying they was still coming. I was the opening act, so they still was like, getting out there.
I mean, that's still probably
you know what I'm saying. So that was something that stood out to me. And then later down the line, Mike started taking me to go do weekends and stuff like that. And then, I've done shows with Michael Blackston and T.K. Kirkland and DC Young Flies, Davis, and
Is there a major difference between like say 50 people versus 4,000 people?
I would like a show with 50 people. You know why? Because it's more closed setting, and I could kind of like feel the love a little bit more, but I could work out a little bit more. Meaning like I could really do my jokes into a capacity of like I can extend it. I can see where I went wrong. I can kind of record the audio to really hear the laughs and the hiccups. When you do the arenas, it's like you could kind of like, I don't know, you could probably like act like you double dutching and they probably laugh. You know what I mean? Because it's more so of like they spent their money. It's like you better make me laugh. So it's like it's more so you coming out with your best stuff. When you do like a show with like 50 people, it's like you come out with your best stuff, but you probably got a little bit more time because it's less of what I could say, less of a target on your back. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'll say.
Do you still
like pressure? It's not that much pressure.
Yeah, because it's a whole Do you still get do you get stage fright at all?
Not I'd say here and there. It'd be like the city where it's like how would they receive me this time? You know what I'm saying? Because I can't say that I didn't have my fair shares in the beginning stages of my career. It was like, this wasn't my night. But like at this stage right now, it's like depends on like, all right, if I got to go after somebody or go before somebody, do you got to set the tone? Because I actually like to set the tone at comedy shows. I like to go first just to really feel like that adrenaline rush. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't say it's nerves. It's like just to get my adrenaline pumping. Once I hear that first laugh, everything else is out the window.
That's what I think is so different like these days for when it comes to like comedy artists, influencers, like even like this shit podcast, right? Like I have a fucking I can't talk in front of like a whole fucking stage. I just can't. I freeze up. But I think that like somehow in some way that's how like social media has just changed the game for all of that in general, cuz like I could do this. Yeah. And I could
But this is your stage now. That's what I'm saying. So you ain't freezing up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is your stage now. So you ain't freezing up.
But it seems like it's easier and it facilitated like how many comedians and artists and everything's out there now because everybody could just get in front of a camera and just boom, post it online and forget about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shit. Versus like back when, when you started, like it was like, no, like you had to be raw. Like I'm saying like good on stage. Like
it's
it wasn't
a
much
good
social
shortcut
media.
now, which is great. That's the only thing I could say like I regret in my career is like I should have took more advantage of the internet. But like the thing that I like about it, that's a balance. My peers still respect me.
Yeah.
So it's no love lost on any side. You know what I'm saying? So I can still pick up the phone and call the same people I came up with, or send a text, or I might get a text, how you feeling in the world, where you at in the world, so I still get the same ample amount of opportunities, but it could be more.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that like made like comedy, like do you think like social media changed comedy in a
I wouldn't say it changed comedy. It's just it was an advantage point. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's just like the same thing with like you have people that still live on doing Def Comedy Jam, but they still doing comedy clubs. Yeah. But it's like, are you mad that they still dwelling on that past? Like, you know what I'm saying? So my thing is like, this was kind of like a easier way to get to where you need to go. It's the same thing with like music. Back in the day, it was like we used to wait for 106 in Park and TRL to come on. Right. Now you go right to YouTube and run up the views. You could watch that video 100 times. You ain't got to wait till 6 o'clock tomorrow to watch 106 in Park or 5 o'clock TRL. You know what I mean? I go right on YouTube. So it's kind of a cheat code, which is what I say is everyone should take advantage of. Just like when SoundCloud came out. You see how everyone took advantage of that and then just turned it into something else,
Do you like, so let's go back to, you did your first gig and you're like, fuck, I gotta really study. Did you keep going back like week after week?
Yeah, I was going to different, but I was going to different clubs though. I was
Yeah.
going to like different comedy clubs. So I was going to different comedy clubs. Then I more so was,
And there's a ton in New York.
oh
I'm
yeah,
assuming.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if you can't get in a comedy club, you probably could walk past a pizza store and somebody's doing comedy in there.
Oh,
Like,
for real?
New York has some of the most creative comedy shows, I could say. You know what I mean? At times, are we oversaturated because there's so much of us? Yeah. But I could say it's a lot of creativity that's put into it at times. I could say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Would you say New York's like a comedy fucking like city?
Yeah, I would say, I give it to a couple cities. I'll say New York. I'll say Chicago. I'll say Detroit, Atlanta.
Detroit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you really want that real, like, all right, these people gonna tell me the real, they're gonna give me the real laughs, not the,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You wanna go get the bull crap and I go to your family reunion and your Uncle Earl tell you that you funny, but you want the real, you gotta go work out and you gotta get your chops up and you really gotta work out your 30, work out your 45, or work out your 15 for somebody to take you on the road. I would say New York, Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta. I would say those places.
Do you notice like a difference in like the comedy like style, I guess, based off of a city? Kind of like music, right? Like Chicago's different than Detroit, is different than New York, is
Yeah.
different than Atlanta. Is there a difference in comedy as well, like as far as like styles, or is that more based off of like personality versus
I would say it's
region?
more different off styles. Absolutely, I would say it's definitely off styles because like New York, we a little bit more aggressive. I would say like Detroit is, they got, they more polished. You know what I mean? With they with the swag. I would say Chicago is more so of like it's so much ways of like someone's going to tell you if you did good or not. The Atlanta is just so much of like they'll stick together, but at the same time, it's like certain things won't fit your criteria. So it'd be a show where it's like you've been with this dude for 20 years, but this ain't the one for you. Maybe the next one. You know what I mean? Like so they kind of more open, honest policy in Atlanta.
Right.
I could give them
Chicago seems like it'd have like more of like a white crowd too.
No,
For some reason, I just
Chicago
feel
is more. It's rough. Like you go to Chicago, I say this to any comic: if you want to go and really, you want to get ready for a special, you want to touch up some jokes, I say Chicago and Detroit, then go to New York, then go to Atlanta. That's just my
Really?
personal opinion.
Huh.
That's just me.
Why do you say that?
Because it's really, you really gonna get the deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just gonna get, people gonna give you the real. Like, it's not gonna be no sugarcoat. You ain't gonna get on stage and like, oh my God, you were great. It's gonna be like, and then it's so much of like comedy royalty in them places, and even underground, even mainstream, even people that's on, certain people that you probably never heard of that have that, that championship caliber of comedy behind them that people don't know, but it's a lot of talent in this comedy world. It's gonna be seen soon. I can say that.
I'm gonna ask you in a little bit. Like, I want to ask you, like, at what point did you realize comedy was like the thing for you? But first, I want to pick your brain about comedy for a minute. What's have you ever been in like a room full of like white crowd?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What's harder, like white or black crowd?
I wouldn't say nothing's hard. Is you gotta have jokes that really it's a balance to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like your life experience is. I say it like this. It's like being a comedian is like being a painter. You basically painting a image to where it comes to life. So it's not like we rappers and we got a beat and it's like, oh, that was nice. When we say a joke, it's like somebody got to be like, damn, that was funny. So it's like we have to be clever people with a great artistry behind us. You know what I mean? So that's the main thing. That's why I always compare like comedy to like painting, because when we on stage and we saying a joke, it's like you have to picture it. And on top of it, my life experience, it might be somebody. I might say like, hey, you ever been with a big girl? It might be 3 people in the crowd. Like, I'm with one now. And then you say the story. It's like, oh, that happened to me too. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about, it has to be, you can't be selective to just one genre. You know what I'm saying? Like NBA Youngboy's a perfect person. He might do hip hop, but he ain't selected to one person. He got white, black, Asians, Spanish. He got everybody.
Yeah. The how does it like? I really like what you just said, but how does it feel like? I guess when like someone gets up and like walks out.
Oh, well, shit. You already spent your money. It don't bother me none. I done walked out on a couple dates and still called her after. But hey, maybe that wasn't the day you liked me, but who cares?
What was like the craziest situation you've had, like in when you're doing stand up?
See, I wasn't doing stand-up. I actually was doing a showcase in Brooklyn. And it was this dude, so it used to be called $5 Mondays. So you paid $5 to perform one song, and you paid $10 to pay two songs. So at this time, it was this dude in a wheelchair. Came in there, he paid $10. Came in there with his own DJ and everything, cameraman, everything. I'm all right. He's like, when you introduced me, this is my hood, call me the king of such and such. All right, whatever. Introduced this guy. As soon as I introduce him, he goes up there, and I went outside. At this time, I was chasing this chick. I never forget. I ain't gonna mention her name. She married now. But I'm chasing her at the time. I'm outside. I'm like, yo, you come to my crib after this? And she was like, yeah. So I'm talking, kicking it. So as soon as, I'm thinking, probably like 10 minutes went by, I'm like, he got to be on like song number 2. When I get in there, he's like, yo, go to track number 6. So I'm like, track number 6? So everyone in there is like, yo, when you gonna get him on stage? I'm like, what you mean?
Right.
I go to the DJ, like his DJ's on there. I kind of just press, like, yo, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, this is his last song. So as soon as I say his last song, all I know is that wheelchair turned around. He said some little word like, squeak. Man, that whole little projects came outside. They surrounded that whole little bar. I was like, oh, man, I don't know how we getting out of here. So now when I'm coming out, the whole project was like, yo, why you trying to bully our mans in a wheelchair? I'm like, he was only supposed to do 2 songs. The whole project's turned on him. You got us outside fighting for your album? You got us outside fighting for our album? I was like, oh, this guy's crazy. So I just hopped in my car and just drove off. I don't even think I forgot to get paid that night. I'll never forget.
That's crazy. At least nothing happened.
Yeah, that's the least of my worries at times. I don't be really worried about nobody because I don't bother nobody. So.
Right.
I don't bother nobody.
That's the thing about comedy. Sometimes I'm like, I feel like I wouldn't be not afraid, but like, what are you? Offend somebody? They Chris Rock you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
see, now that's where I draw the line. You ain't gonna get too close on me. It's arm distance with me. I don't give a damn who you are. Don't roll up on me.
right.
I don't get. See, they say Chris Rock from Brooklyn, but I'm just saying I know a lot of Brooklyn people. Him walking at that speed. I don't care. It would have been, please stand by. Nah, ain't happening. Nah.
What was there like a lot of talk in like the comedy world about that whole situation?
At first we thought it was fake.
Yeah.
And then
it's got to be a skit. That's what everybody
and
thought.
And then when it hit Twitter, then it hit the shade room. Then I'm like, all right, this is for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, they ain't going that crazy at the Oscars. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nobody going that crazy at the Oscars. Like, but I guess he did.
What So at what point were you like, okay, comedy is what I'm gonna do?
I say right when I got that development deal with this management company. So this management company, shout out to my man DJ Instinct. So I was actually, this is crazy. I got fired from the shoe store, started working construction. Come home from construction, I seen Triple C's from Maybach Music Group. They were shooting a video in the parking lot behind my cousin's store, the Fitter Gallery. So I'm walking by, I'm like, who the hell's over here with Porsche? Like, I'm talking about exotic cars. So I'm walking home and they was like, oh, they shooting a video, but I'm seeing like exotic girls. I'm like, what the hell going on over here? Like, when the hell did my city start becoming so popular? You know what I mean? With exotic cars, like, where the hell they got these cars from? So I go in there and the DJ was like spinning the records and stuff. So I'm like, yo, what's going on back there? He was like, oh, I'm the DJ for Torch and Gunplay. So I'm like, oh, what's up? I'm like, yo, my name is Marcus Banks. Here's my card. So he's like, all right, cool. So I end up like rushing home, showering and stuff. I left him. At this time, I wasn't even driving to work because it was a hop, skip, and a jump to where I was going. Yeah. So I get in my car, go get fresh, come back, looking at the girls and stuff. The next day, they shooting a video. I end up meeting like the management company, and I just started like opening up shows for like Triple C's and Rick Ross like 2 weeks later. And just was running around. Yeah, was running around with them for about like 2 years, and then Then Rick Ross came out with the new MMG with like Meek Mills and Wale and Stally and Amarion. So I was like, that's what's up. And then I just went about my own little day, you know. I figured it out on my own.
Do those gigs like do they pay good or is it mainly for like exposure?
In the beginning, it was for exposure, but then when I started getting like a little bit of traction in my name, and you know, because at this time I was running around with a book bag just full of flyers. So what I used to do, I used to go to the venue and just throw all of them on the floor. You know what I mean? Because you know they standing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I used to throw them all on the floor, and I'd just be standing outside. So I'll stand outside, give out like I know like 1 out of 3 was gonna follow me, and then I
Yeah.
used to just go to homecoming. So like every homecoming, I knew like Ross was going to, or like the Meek Mills was going to. I'd just show up there and just be like going to like the tailgating and just
Right.
passing out flyers, or just put them on like on the cars and stuff. So like
Yeah.
while people's over there promoting their parties, I'm promoting my damn self. You know, that's how I was doing it.
That's what I think is like just unique about hustlers, right?
Yeah.
Like just hustlers and people who really it ain't no excuse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so many people will make an excuse like, oh, you know, I can't because of X, Y, and Z. Like, and everybody who's became successful in whatever they've done is because they thought like they think outside of the box.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that obviously never heard that before, but that's just unique. Like how you
I'm
like,
saying
"Oh,
I
I'm
was
just gonna drop him on the floor.
I was sleeping on my mom's couch, so it was more so it was like, yo, I gotta make something shake. You know what I mean? I gotta get something. I gotta get something to shake out here. You know what I mean? Like I'm sleeping on my mom's couch. I'm taking chicks to short stay motels and stuff. You know, just to get a nut off. It's like, nah, I gotta make. You know, I gotta get something. You know what I mean?
So you didn't have a plan B.
Nah, I'm saying I had a plan B, but at the same, I always knew like. Me, I always knew I had a good work skill, so I always knew I could find like a job. You know what I mean? Like I know how to work on cars. I know how to. It's certain things I just know how to do. So it's like I knew I could always have a fallback on something. But it was so much invested into this comedy where it's like website. I'm getting custom made T-shirts. I'm putting goddamn MB on the side of my head and a mohawk. I'm like, all right, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, enough is enough. Like. Even though I'm buying like hoopties, it's like I'm hooking up my car. You know what I mean? I done bought this car and I put tents on it. I put a system in it. Put some rims on it. And I'm feeling like I'm showing up in a Maybach. You know what I mean?
I meant in Atlanta, you didn't have a plan B.
Oh, in Atlanta? When I lived in Atlanta?
I was just fucking with you because of what you told me
no,
on the way up
no,
here.
No. I hope she do.
What comedian have you not worked with that you're like, okay, this is a comedian I definitely want to work with one day?
I'll say like tour wise or like movie wise.
Ooh, I would say one of each.
Movie wise, I could probably say. Matter of fact, who I haven't worked with that I would love to work with, I'll say Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to work with Dave Chappelle. After that, I would say I would love to work with Ali Sadiq. After that, I'll say I'd love to work with thinking it's a tricky one. I would say, because I actually did a show with him, but I'd love to work with him again. Bruce. I would love to work with him again. Yeah.
And that's on tour.
Yeah, that's on tour. Movie wise, Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn and Will Ferrell is who I would want to work with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the reason, and Adam Sandler, the reason why I say that is because they keep that core of like the same people every time. Like you ever notice like Grown Ups 2, same people. From Big Daddy, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Same exact thing. Like same cast. Like it doesn't change. Waterboy, same cast. You know what I mean? What's the other one? The only one he probably changed the cast a little bit was when he did The Longest Yard. You know what I mean? He went and got all the celebrities in there, but he's always kept the same cast. You know what I mean? The same boys, same thing with Will Ferrell, old school. same cast. You know what I mean? Wedding Crashers with Vince Vaughn. It's always the same guys. You know what I mean?
I do like that. I think that's like unique because
Yeah.
like you don't really see that type of
You
shit.
know what I'm saying?
no more.
That's the more so what that's what I like. And that's the thing that I like. I kind of like. That's like dear to me. Like when I do a lot of shows, like I know people hate when I do certain shows because they know the handful of comedians I'm gonna call when I'm in New York. They know, you know what I mean? Because these are just the people I know. If I call them, they come running. You know.
How do you balance like how do you balance like being honest when you're telling your stories and just being funny? Like how do you balance that?
Balancing it is more so of like it's the way the crowd would perceive it. Of like, because some of it I could over exaggerate, but some of it be like true. And then sometimes like when that certain laugh is like, damn, I didn't think y'all was gonna laugh at that. But at the point it was kind of like black to me, but it's kind of gold to y'all. So it's like that's how you find a balance of like once you perform it, I could say.
And then you're like, all right, I'm gonna save that one
you
for
save that one for the archives. Absolutely, hell yeah. Ain't gonna switch that up.
the what about like as soon as you started like getting on social media and stuff, like how do you basically like handle criticism and shit like that? You don't even.
I'm not really
the
the one to go back and forth. Go argue with your mother. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
Right.
one of those. I'm not really because thing about it is like if I know you and we being confrontational, then you know my body of work of where I don't tolerate disrespect. Now, if you just one of them trolls and you just sitting in your, like how Charles Barkley saying in your grandmother's basement, on
Right.
your keyboard, I ain't really worried about you, bro. I ain't worried about somebody that got 330 followers and following 6,000 people. You live for this. This is how you make your day. Like you gonna eat 100 cupcakes and you got Pornhub uploaded as soon as you finish commenting on my. I ain't worried about you, bro. I'm not worried about you.
Yeah, that's what I try to also like even not. I don't think that's because people will tell me because like I'm kind of like you. I'm my biggest critic.
Yeah.
People be like like the fact that you're just able to upload shit and just post it and not give a shit. I'm like I don't give a shit.
Like who are you for me to care? I don't give a damn.
Right.
You came on my page. You found time out of your day to find me. I didn't come find you.
Right.
Like bye.
I've got so some career highlights is All-Star Weekend. Was it CIAA
Yeah,
weekend?
CIAA weekend.
CIAA Carnival Cruise Lines.
Absolutely.
Tell me which one was your favorite and how'd you get into these gigs? I see Super Bowl live, like Miami too. So
Yeah, so the thing about that is, so what I say is Carnival Cruise was probably a highlight because more of the travel and the crowd. Only thing about it is you more kind of like segregated when you do them Carnival Cruises because
Yeah.
you kind of an entity to them. But the good thing about my deal was I got booked by a private company. So I kind of mixed and mingled with everybody. But the comics that get hired by Carnival, they kind of like, all right, you got to stay over here. You get to experience it, but it's not the full-on experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like me, I was at the bar, I was doing the limbo. I'm doing everything on the Carnival Cruise.
but usually you can't do nothing.
Nah, in certain contracts that I know other comedians that have been on Carnival have told me that. So
Is it because why? Like,
I don't know.
why
I think it's just a liability thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? You take one of them guests back to the room, somebody wake up and say, I don't know.
Yeah.
With me, I already knew the group I was performing for, so
Right.
I already knew, you know what I mean? And two of them was my exes, so I already knew the ones I was going to sting. So it was no reason for me to even gamble, you know?
What'd you do All-Star Weekend?
All-Star Weekend, I actually hosted an event for Pepsi Cola. So I hosted an event for Pepsi Cola. I believe it was me, King Batch. It was a good time. It was basically at this time, I think Starries was coming out from Sprite, like the Sprite. It tastes like Sprite. That was coming out. It was a big campaign for that, and they had a big like launch for that downtown LA. So that was a dope vibe for that. So shout out to my man Chauncey Hamlet. He put me on with that.
I was gonna say, like, how'd you get put on with that? Like, was that like through all the management
No.
company?
So
or?
this guy named Chauncey Hamlet, he's from the Rochelle. He was actually at the time He was the COO of Pepsi Cola. I want to say, or yeah, he had a big name up there. Don't quote me, but I know he had a big name up there, to where he was like, "Yo, listen, I'm gonna get you part of this brand and such. I'm about to push this. I'm about to push that." And fresh out the gate, he was like, "Yo, you get the All-Star Weekend, you got a job." I'm like, "For real?" He's like, "Nah, I'm dead serious." And started pushing it from there, and then different things started lining up. Like, he builds a lot of brands. You know what I mean? Like liquor brands. Pepsi Cola, so that was a blessing in the sky. Like, and he seen me from before I even wanted to be a comedian. So
These type of gigs, like they fly you out, or you got.
I was already flying out there. That was the crazy part. It just so
okay.
fell in my lap. It was like a perfect situation. And that was the same time I met Ha Davis. The first time
out there.
I met him in New York, but he was doing a show and actually called me like, "Hey man, where you at in the world?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm in LA." And he was like, "All right, my manager gonna call you." And his manager called me and was like, "Yo, we doing Hollywood Improv." I'm like, "Oh shit, I ain't too far from there."
Yeah.
And I left that gig. We went back to my hotel, showered, made it over to Hollywood Improv, and from there we just made, we had a good time there. And that's when we all was still young in the game. Well, he was young in the game, but I was fairly like just getting my, my feet under myself. So, but it was overall that was like the chapter that started
2017, 2018.
around there. Yep, around there.
What about the Super Bowl?
Super
How'd you
Bowl.
get that gig?
Who the hell? It was in Miami. Who was? I believe Jordan Lucas. He was playing for the Chiefs, and he was throwing a watch party. Even though he was playing, he was throwing a watch party. So it was a big watch party that we was at, and our whole neighborhood went out there, and then it just turned into like a whole like Super Bowl party, and then people started hooking up cameras and microphones, and then it just turned into like a big like situation of that. I just went out there because him and my brother still good friends to this day. I'm like, I'll just show up to the Airbnb and call it a day. And then it just turned into like a hosting. And then we end up taking it to the club, and the club owner knew who he was, and it just turned to like, you the host, and don't worry about nothing. They just had my picture flying around on the TV and stuff. Like, that's cool. So.
What you've been in the game for 13 years. What's the difference between like the long term, like those who make it long term, and like those who like fade out? Those comedians who fade out.
It's all about keeping good connections and keeping a good name. You know what I mean? Like we all like we comedians. You know what I mean? Even like females, they could be arrogant at times. Us males could be arrogant at times. But it's all about like righting your wrongs. You know what I'm saying? So I done did some things in my comedy career where it's like, damn, I should have never did that. But I can say out of my career, I say 85% of it has been great, and 15% has been me doing something stupid. You know what I mean? I can own up to that. You know what I mean?
When you say like you should have never did that, you're talking about out in public, like in front of a crowd, or you're talking about behind the scenes?
Even behind the scenes, I've done some things in public that I ain't proud of. You know what I mean? I done had shouting matches in front of like comedy clubs and threatened a couple comedians, and you know what I mean? And I done did some outlandish things, but
really?
I've always, and I could always say you could blame like your vices, you know what I mean? Like other people choose what they want to do. Like I could say at times, like I want to say like 2000, around like that 2016 mark, and I was running around like doing like stages with like the Mike Epps, the S'mores, and the Gary Owens. I felt like I was above the world, so it was like come home, go to the club, let's do 3 bottles, let's do. Yeah. But it's like I'm looking happy, but in all realness, it's like I'm kind of sad because all this liquor is drowning. That's what I'm drowning in. So it's like you don't make the best decisions intoxicated. Right. So I can say that's why I said the 15% is probably I done did some stupid. You know what I mean?
Right. And when you're with Mike Epps and shit, the whole city's behind you.
Yeah. Like I'm from Rochelle, New York. I wear it on my back. I'm a 914. Forever, you know what I'm saying? So I rep the whole 9, you know what I mean? So the whole 914, I rep it, you know what I mean?
So what advice would you give someone who wants comedy as a career?
Have a backup plan first.
Yeah.
Don't just come in here thinking that you're going, all right, I could get on stage and this is it for me. Nah, it's levels to it. And then on top of it, you get certain people that, is, do you want to be a comedian or do you want to be an entertainer? because there's different things to it.
Right.
Like I could do all. I'm a comedian. I'm a host. I'm an actor. I could write. I could produce. You know what I mean? So that's a well-rounded entertainer. But you get certain people that are like, oh, I just want to do the comedy side. Or you get certain people that just be like, yo, you know what? I want to pitch a TV show. Or certain people just want to be a writer. They don't want the glory or the limelight. They just like, yo, you know what? I'll get you in the rooms and that's it.
Yeah.
So
Do you what category do you put yourself in?
me,
Yeah.
well-rounded. Ain't too much that could be in it. Well-rounded. Well-rounded.
Yeah, because you got improv too, and apart from, because I feel like you got everything that an entertainer has, but you're also you're a comedian too. So what's something about like success that you like a belief that you had, say early on that like now like just completely changed for you?
Oh, when I first started comedy, I thought it was gonna be straight to the top. Like I was gonna be in like Next Friday, like Mike Epps or something.
Yeah.
But now, like looking at it, it's like it's a lot of work to put in before you can even step in those shoes or get those auditions. Or even if you do get those auditions, it's always lines around the corner and things like that. Like I auditioned for Wild 'N Out 3 times. I ain't make it, but I ain't cry about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy for the people that did make it. You know what I mean? So those are things that it never hurt me in any sense. But it was a learning experience where the people that are on there know who I am. You know what I mean? So that's the cool part.
You auditioned to be like a guest, or you auditioned to be on
Nah,
the show,
to be
like
on
part
the
of
show.
the show?
Yeah, to be on the show.
like
Yeah,
one
you
of
don't
the
got to
comedians.
audition to be a guest. They reach out to your peoples. You know what I mean? Like they, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I went on there 3 times. I'll never forget. Right at the Viacom building in Times Square, I auditioned 3 times.
And they said no.
The first time I did it, Justina Valentine wrapped circles around everybody in that audition. She ain't do no joke.
She was a dog.
Soon as that rap battle came, we all knew we was going home. Second time they put this other dude on. Third time, I forgot who they put on. They put on like 2 people. And then I think like the 4th time when it came across my desk, I was like, man. I said, I did it 3 times. I ain't gonna say the 4th time's a charm. I was like, no, I just think I'm gonna just stick to what I know. You know what I mean? Even though I knew the 3rd time I really deserved it, but at this time, this is when it was the curve of, it was strength in numbers, where it was like they were going more so of like who had the following. It wasn't like they was trying to develop. It was like, all right, if you ain't got it now, we ain't trying to help you get it. You know, so.
Yeah, because in the beginning it was more about developing up and coming comedians, and then it kind of became to like who's popular, right? Yeah, I feel like that's when people really kind of like steered away from like watching it as much.
I'm saying they still watch it, but it ain't me. I ain't on it.
Right.
I appreciate the ones that's on it, but I ain't on it.
Was you ever in any movies?
I've been in a couple movies that I never seen that they say came out, but they've been like independent films, but I ain't see it.
Yeah,
I did a film that is called Can't Live Without My Radio. That was filmed in Baltimore. Did another film in Dallas. Didn't see that. So if there's a couple movies out there, Marcus Banks is looking for them so I can add it to my credits.
Where do you want to where do you want your comedy career to be in 5 or 10 years?
And I don't really got 5 years to spare, to be honest. I say in the next 2. I want to be like a world traveling comedian, touring as well.
You like touring?
Yeah, absolutely. That really gets my blood flowing. I want to pitch a couple TV shows, have a podcast. Should have a clothing line.
And right now your home base is your hometown, New York.
Yeah, that's my home base. Yeah, you know what I mean? But I wherever the money floats, that's where the boat goes for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't gonna hold me hostage there. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll still come back home, but you ain't gonna hold me hostage.
I'm gonna do something that's actually not even on here real quick. I want to see. Could you do a quick 2-minute improv?
No what?
Just something that you would do on stage.
Oh, how you look like the guy from Harold and Kumar? You know Harold and Kumar?
Yeah,
you look like him?
The Indian dude.
He looked just like with a mixture of like Lenny S. You know Lenny S? Lenny S. You look just like him. Look him up when you leave. For real. That's what you look like.
I have heard the Harold Kumar one.
I know
though.
you heard of that one. I had to look tight. I was like, when I see you put the hat on, I was like, when he changed his appearance.
All right, so I got a couple of just kind of like short answer type type questions here that I want to ask you. What's well, I guess you may have answered this one already, but what's the wildest crowd interaction you ever had on stage?
Oh, I told you that one. Yeah, that was in Brooklyn.
Yep, that was
Brooklyn.
that was the wildest one.
Yeah, that was the wildest one.
What's a joke that in one like you killed it in one city, but in another city it completely like just bombed?
I did a joke one time in Charlotte. Shit went crazy. Then I did that shit in Columbia, South Carolina. That shit got chuckles. I was like, shit, scratch that. I was mad as hell.
Can you tell us what the joke is, or
Shit, it was
you don't remember?
Nah, it was about it was a quick joke too. What I said? I remember this. Damn. Oh
like
yeah, I said my girlfriend left me for a shorter guy. I said I just broke up with my girlfriend. She left me for a shorter guy and told me to grow up. And then they killed him like. And then the next 6 years, I was like, oh fuck y'all.
That's always a good little comeback.
Yeah,
Fuck
like,
you guys.
Fuck y'all. I liked it.
I feel like people laugh about that after
I
they
liked
can't get it.
I loved it.
If you couldn't do comedy, what would you be doing right now?
If I couldn't do comedy, what would I be doing? Mm-hmm. Sure, I feel like I'd be a consultant.
A what?
A consultant.
A consultant.
Yeah. Like either not a business consultant, but probably like a life coach / consultant.
Yeah.
I think I give like some good ass advice. Yeah, I think I'll be that.
What's the biggest difference between like East Coast and the West Coast scene?
Of comedy?
Yep.
Shit, the West Coast ain't gonna pay you. The East Coast, you probably get a couple dollars.
For real?
Yeah, you can go to California and go get a check of comedy. You're gonna throw that shit right back at them. You know,
Really?
Hell no. LA is like you going out there for connections. If you pitching some TV shows or you part of something, yeah, but you ain't getting paid. You better get your ass monetized and call it a day. You ain't getting paid.
What about as far as like crowd goes?
LA it's a bunch of people chasing a dream, so you kind of running the same marathon somebody else running. You just don't know how fast they're gonna make it to the finish. Well, not a finish line, but just don't know how far ahead they are.
Right. What who's funnier in real life than on stage?
Who?
No, I'm asking you who is funnier in real life than on stage? Like, is there any comedian that you've met that is like funnier in real life than they are on stage?
I'll say. Damn, who would I say?
Or maybe even the other way around, like funnier on stage than they are actually in real life.
No, I'm trying to think. I say Bill Bellamy, matter of fact. Bill Bellamy is real. He's like one of those calm guys where he's real funny. Like, you know what I mean, he's like one of those people. It's like chapters to his book. So once you get past like chapter 2 and he start like telling you stories, you like, nah, this dude's mad funny. Like, and he chill. So I give him that.
Do you when you're about to do stand up, when you're about to do a show, do you like bring up any like recent events, like real life issues type shit, and make jokes out of them?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean, you got to do that. But you know, like it's like comedians. A lot of us think alike, but you just want to see how you stand out. You know what I mean? Like you want to see how you stand out with your material. So that'd be the main thing. I try not to do the trending topics.
Yeah.
Try to like stay in my topics. You know what I mean? Like come into my world. And I don't need to. You know what I mean? Like
Be trending
yeah,
about
like
whatever.
you want to go on some trending topics, go in the shade room and find out what's going on today. But
Yeah,
when you come to my show, you're gonna know what's going on with me.
I like that. You stay in your lane because, you know, especially like with what I'm doing, like people are like, oh, you need to talk about the shit that's trending. I'm like, I just want to talk about the guest. You know, I just want to meet the guest.
You could do that. You could do that once you start getting some goddamn, what's the name? Like, hey, if you want to talk to politicians.
The if someone was trying to get into like doing stand up, you know, today, like what do you think is like the biggest advice you could give them?
Stay on the internet.
Stay on the internet.
Stay on the internet.
Yeah.
You gotta build a crowd.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing you wish you would have done a little bit more
During COVID, if I would have took advantage instead of chasing money and trips, oh boy. But at this time, you gotta remember the world was kind of closed, but it was kind of open.
Right.
Going to Puerto Rico was $60. I'm taking advantage of that.
Right.
Go to DR. I was going to DR, taking advantage of that. Going to Cabo, taking advantage of that. Going to Cancun, taking advantage of that.
Is there what's your top 5 comedians of all time?
Top 5?
Yeah.
I gotta go Eddie.
Number 1 or
I never like put it. Eddie,
Okay.
Bernie, Robin Harris, Richard Pryor, and I'll say, I'll say Mike Epps.
Yeah. The I'm still not over that Eddie Murphy fucking Netflix special. Did you ever watch it?
Oh yeah, I watched it.
I never realized, like, I knew he was fucking Eddie,
How young he was, and how the guy was brilliant.
Yeah,
You know what
and
I mean?
just what he did. He was a fucking pioneer to the game.
Different type of guy, man. Different type of guy, man.
You know, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you wanna let the public know?
Yeah, by the time they see this episode, I'm back outside. I'm back on tour, man. Dates being added right now. You understand? It's called I ain't got no more favors.
That's the tour.
Yeah, I ain't got no more favors.
I ain't got no more favors.
I ain't got no more favors.
I saw you. What cities are you hitting?
Atlanta, Baltimore, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Florida, and more dates being added as we speak. So get ready.
Who's all gonna be on the tour?
It's me, my man, comedian Jay Will. So New York meets Detroit.
Well, hey, good luck on your
I
tour.
appreciate it, brother.
And go like and follow Marcus Banks. Is it Marcus Banks Comedy?
Yeah, Marcus Banks
right?
Comedy on all platforms.
Yep, on all platforms.
TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I'm all over the place.
And last question I want to ask you is, what's one thing like you want people to, that maybe like you don't ever get to tell people, or they don't ever maybe sense or whatever off of your shows? Like, what's something that you want them to like take home with them after coming to one of your shows?
I just hope you had a good time.
Just a good
I hope
time.
you had a good time.
My brother, thank you very
appreciate it,
much.
brother.
This is Kevin Salinas once again. Marcus Banks Comedy.
Yes, sir.
Go like, share, follow, and go to his tour dates. He's got them online and on his Instagram.
Yes, they are there.
And once again, thank you for another episode.
Yes, sir.